elite tier of all stages runners. And it looks like we are off. IWannaBeYourJacky versus Maisgueuh. Gonna get them synced up for you guys here in a second. If you haven't seen a Donkey Kong Country speedrun before, you start off with the titular character Donkey Kong and then immediately dispatch him, just because his little nephew Diddy Kong is considerably faster. So there will be some instances where we go back to Donkey where it is advantageous, whether it's access to a certain warp or his abilities in terms of his physical properties. But those are few and far in between. I'd say probably 95% of the game you play as Diddy just because he is that much faster, easier to control, and so forth. So on to 1-2 now, some rope swings, and we're going to see our first out of 2 bonus. In order to skip a good chunk of the stage, just roll right off there, and then it shoots you out at the exit there, and you skip, I believe, I don't want to say 50%, but it's a good chunk of the stage, and it ends up saving a solid amount of time. One of the good pieces of tech that we're going to see through most of this race, used by Jacky and Maisgueuh as well, is an extendo. I'll point those out when we get to them, but for the most part, the bread and butter is rolling. You want to roll as much as you can, and you want to roll through enemies as much as you can. When you roll through enemies, you get a little speed boost, and it stacks. It increases up to rolling through 4 enemies, which will actually double your speed over your regular rolling speed. Now, Reptile Rumble here introduces us to crawl spaces, which you can jump through, which is a lot faster than going through this little crawl animation that you do sometimes. You can skip that crawl animation by holding down and jumping. If you are over halfway through a crawl space, you can press the Y button to roll, and it'll zip you out the other side. Good stuff. Now, on to Coral Capers, first water stage of the game. For the most part, you want to cut your corners as close as possible, and when it suits you, take our little fish buddy On Guard, Swordfish. If you press Y or B, he has a little lunge attack you can see right there. It is considerably faster than just swimming horizontally. So you want to use that to dispatch enemies as much as you can. You can't use it to get rid of every enemy, such as the Croctopus, the little octopus guys going back and forth. And a couple enemies we'll see later, the Clambo and the Mincer. But while you are lunging, you are invulnerable, so you just end up clipping through the enemies that you can't kill. Another nice piece of tech is mashing the face buttons on the exit of a stage. You see the Kongs will stand there and dance on the exit on the world map for a few seconds or so. If you mash all the face buttons, it cuts the fanfare short. I like to call that fanfare skip. It saves about 2 minutes over the course of the entire run. Nice little extendo here on Jacky's screen. In order to make it to that spot, jump on that guy and take these auto barrels all the way across 1-5. For the most part, World 1 is pretty simple. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the harder tricks, probably about World 3 is when the hard stuff starts coming in, and then 4 we'll really see a lot of good platforming. Onto the first boss, Naughty. Ooh, Jacky cutting it a little bit close there with that jump. He almost lost Diddy. You just want to bop this guy over and over. He'll sort of like sit there and be confused for a second after you hit him. Then he'll lunge at you. And you just want to jump on him on the way down from the peak of his jump, because he's invulnerable while he's still going upwards. After the climax of a jump, though, you can hit him. Looks like there's only a handful of seconds between Jacky and Maisgueuh here. Still keeping it pretty tight through World 1. Props to Maisgueuh. Very good platforming stage here. Winky's Walkway, lots of fun to play through. The IL world record is 22 seconds flat, so it's pretty quick stage. Lots of very satisfying rolls to execute in that stage, specifically this one over that bird that Maisgueuh just jumped over. Now to Minecart Carnage. You skip most of the stage because it is a very, very long auto-scroller. Just take that hidden little warp barrel beneath you at the start of the stage, and you get to 90-95% of the way through. Skip most of it. Onto Bouncy Bonanza. More crawl spaces, more tires, more rolling, some extendos. And there is an interesting trick called bee skip, where you skip the bees. Coming up here for Jacky on your left side. First half right there, nice. Second half, perfectly executed. And the tire roll, very nice. Bee skip saves about 4 seconds. It can be tricky to learn the timing for at first, but really it becomes quite intuitive once you've practiced it enough. The hardest part is, in my opinion, getting into those crawl spaces so that you can jump out of them. Because if you do start that crawling animation as you saw on Maisgueuh's screen, you cannot jump out of that. Now to stop and go station, another stage where we just take a warp, just walk immediately back left through the entrance, and it takes you to the end of the stage. Another interesting piece about these unique enemies are the rock crocs. You don't see them in any other stage. While they are activated and running back and forth, they're immune to you. You can't dispatch them by rolling through them, but they also can't hurt you because you're immune while you're rolling from them. So it's just sort of this standoff, and you end up going right through them just as you would the Croctopus with On Guard. Jacky setting up first major glitch, super jump. You saw Donkey go off the top of the screen. Once he gets Donkey back, he shoots up into a Donkey exclusive warp barrel. Only Donkey is allowed to go in it. It's actually not even there when Diddy is in front. It takes you to the end of the stage. We'll see it on Maisgueuh's screen as well, I'm sure, if you missed it the first time. So he throws away these TNT barrels just to give him a little space. Takes damage on this slope. Donkey goes off. Ooh, he didn't charge it! Unfortunately, he's going to have to do tire over gap, and it looks like he realized it. But he will have to get Donkey back as well, because that barrel is not accessible with Diddy only. Jacky making quick work of the second world boss, Necky. He spits these little nuts at you, and he's a... actually, it's RNG, whether or not he appears on the top or the bottom, the left or the right. Very, very small detail, but it does save a little bit of time. It's easier to hit him when he's in the bottom position. Another Donkey exclusive warp barrel right there that Jacky took. That one's actually on a timer. You have to get there quickly enough so that it does not despawn. Jacky maybe having a little bit of nerves right here. He fired a little bit too soon on that barrel before it was positioned properly, so he shot up in the air. That's probably the most unfortunate one to mess up your timing on, because you have to wait 2 more B cycles. Now another developer-intended warp at the very start of the stage. Takes you right to the end. Good stuff. Now onto Forest Frenzy, the first chance that most runners go for, a super jump roll. So super jump roll combines a super jump, which we saw in Millstone earlier, where you'll send one Kong off the top of the screen. You see Diddy jump up there. That means his super jump is charged. And I don't know if he's going to go for it. Looks like he is. But he unfortunately was a little bit late on his Y press. I'll explain more on that in a bit. But you see he's now flying over the top of the screen. And right here, he's going to let go of B. Until then, he was going up and up and up and up and up. As long as he holds the B button, he is now released, and he is falling all this way towards the end of the stage. So I mentioned that a super jump roll is a super jump and a jump roll together. The super jump you saw before, the jump roll part, you need to walk off of a ledge such that you land on an enemy while still having the ability to roll. And if you bounce off of that enemy, you have the ability to press Y on the same frame that you land on it, and it sends you into this perpetual rolling state. You just sort of go forward at roughly the same horizontal level at rolling speed. Very, very fast. Compared to, ooh, unfortunately, Maisgueuh. He did not walk off the ledge there. So the thing here, why Jacky got over the ropes and Maisgueuh didn't, Jacky actually clipped through them. You have to be in a falling state. You have to fall off the ledge onto that Kremling in order to set a falling state so that you end up clipping through ropes, because you only can get, you can only grab onto a rope if you're jumping. If you're falling off something, you will go straight through. So since he had a jump state set last, he got stuck on that rope, and now he has to do the OG way through this stage. Loses a considerable amount of time. I don't know how much, but it is a lot. Jacky giving him a little bit of a break there, though, with that death. So Maisgueuh has a little bit of a chance to catch up. On to Temple Tempest here over on Jacky's screen. Lots of good extendos here. You'll see one right here through these two guys. Repress. That guy repress. He jumps out a little bit early. That's okay. Still very fast, but you can go a little bit further. to completely bridge that gap. It looks like he hit it, but he just jumped out for safety. Because if you mess up your timing on your last repress for the extendo there, you will end up falling into that pit and not roll all the way over it. So now Jacky, you see, he's not actually going to go directly into the next level, but instead he's going to go to Funky's Flights. He's going to jump in the Funky's Flight barrel, lets you travel between worlds, and he's going to use that in order to initiate map warp. So he wants to go into this bottom corner right there and press one of the face buttons as if he was trying to enter a stage. Fourth try. Okay, fourth try for Jacky. That loses 4 seconds over. I'm sorry. 4 seconds over first try. So not really a huge loss, but it is a frame perfect trick essentially. But it's much more forgiving in that you have unlimited attempts at it, and you can just pretty much mash your buttons. A lot of players will use various objects to hit the face buttons as quickly as possible, but a new method has evolved, which we call triple input or quadruple input. Some people use where you just sort of tap 3 or 4 buttons in succession in order to try to change that 1 frame window into a 3 frame window. Some people have a lot of relative success with it. Now, Clam City, affectionately called Clam Chowder by a lot of people, same sort of thing. You want to be on guard as much as possible. You want to lunge as much as possible when going horizontally, and you want to cut your corners really tightly. Nice clam clip there by Jacky. That Clambo there is another enemy that you typically cannot kill. I think in some ROM hacks you can actually end up killing them with TNT barrels, but that's nowhere in the original vanilla game. You see Maisgueuh on the right-hand side opting to pick up Espresso, which is a good choice for beginner runners. Makes the stage considerably easier. It is quite a tough stage to play out normally. And if you do not go for the rope skips and extendos that Jacky was going for, you end up losing time overtaking the bird. The bird is actually so fast that compared to optimal, you only lose 6 seconds if you don't go for all those optimal tire rolls that you saw Jacky going for. Jacky making quick work of the B-Boss. Not much to talk about there. You just hit it with a bunch of barrels. While he's red, he's invulnerable, and then he turns yellow again. You hit him with another barrel. I'm sorry, her. It's Queen Bee, not King. King Zing Sting, you fight in DKC 2. Jacky going for Joe Roll, very nice. Saves a whole 6 frames at the expense of your death if you mess up the timing. Opting out of Zero Roll, no big deal. And he's going to do Barrel Boost right now. If you hold a barrel of any type and jump off of a ledge, you get pushed out a little bit faster than normal from a normal jump. And you can use that to bounce off a vulture there and skip some auto barrels. Saves a few seconds. Nice little extendo right there. Shoot at an angle to skip an auto barrel, and then roll off the edge into that bird. Going for under barrel, very nice. You only get a handful of frames in order to jump up into that auto barrel down at the bottom of the stage, at the expense of dying if you jump too late. A lot of people will just take a jump a little bit early to line up sort of more safely. Maisgueuh having a little bit of trouble holding onto his fish, but he gets it back. Not a huge loss there. Jacky going into Slip Slide Ride. Very nice out of bounds over the top of the screen there. If you hold down when you're on a rope and you jump, it actually lets you end up jumping above the screen. So we use that to get out of bounds and then get Diddy into that warp barrel that he took, which is typically only accessible by Donkey, since when he jumps, his hitbox extends a little bit higher. He sort of throws his knuckles up there and he just sort of grazes that warp barrel. Diddy can't normally get into it. So to save swapping your Kongs back and forth, we go out of bounds there. And now this is typically the first exposition of our buddy Espresso in Ice Age Alley here on Jacky's screen. It is affectionately referred to by a lot of runners as Bird, just because this is typically the first time that you see the bird in the game. In what we would call top-level speedruns, we'll say anybody going for world record times are going to skip the bird in Temple Tempest, so this is usually your first time to use it. The unfortunate thing with the bird is, and any animal buddy, is if you take damage, you sort of get lunged, thrown off the bird and as you saw in Ice Age Alley there's a lot of pits to fall into. So he made it out okay, but it is a very treacherous stage if you take damage. Now onto Croctopus Chase, another water level, but this time we will spend all roughly 220 or so seconds of it as the Kongs, just because On Guard is in this stage, but he's so far out of the way, so far towards the edge of the stage, that it's not even worth the time that it takes to go get him, that you save by his movement over the Kong movement. So you're going to hear about 2 and 24 or so, 2 minutes 24 seconds of a typical fan favorite song, Aquatic Ambiance, just cutting your corners as quickly as possible, tightly as possible, and swimming upwards like in this channel right here where Jacky's going. You want to mash B as fast as possible. There's no cap in the upwards swim speed when you mash your B button to swim upwards. The game runs at 60 FPS, so if you could theoretically hit the B button 30 times in 1 second, on off every other frame, that would be the theoretical swim cap, but that is not viable for your typical human. So just basically mash as fast as you can while holding up, and if you execute this stage quickly enough, there's a little piano refrain in the soundtrack that you hear in the background, and if you're fast enough, you won't hear it play at the end. So a lot of runners will typically compare their execution of this stage with a certain number of pianos, whether it's 1 or 6, 9, whatever it is, or top level players will go for what we like to call pianoless. And Jacky is having a pretty good stage, seems like. Looks like he's practiced it a whole lot, having some pretty good corners. Maisgueuh opted to just take Donkey into that warp barrel on the right hand side and slip slide ride. No shame in that. I think if you mess up the out of bounds once, it actually ends up losing time over just swapping your Kongs immediately. So very good Croctopus Chase for Jacky there. Now into Torchlight Trouble, a sort of blackout stage here, and lots of good rolls over these oil drums. You can stand on the edge of them and roll off as Diddy. You get like 2 pixels or so. However, Donkey's hitbox is too large, and if you try to stand on the oil drums as Donkey, you end up taking damage. Some tight rolls here, some cool gap rolls, another crawl space to go through. Very short, very difficult stage, and very well executed by Jacky there. On the Rope Bridge Rumble, another attempt for an SJR. It looks like he's going to go for it. You need to stand your Diddy in this corner here, so when you take damage, he jumps off the top of the screen. And roll here, very specific setup. Take damage with Donkey. And he's got it. So this is a super jump roll. So we charged the super jump there before, and walking over that tire and pressing Y on that army on the right hand side initiated his jump roll. He ran back into that second army left of the tire in order to just pick up more speed to finish the stage faster. So Jacky is on a pretty good run right now, all except for that unfortunate death that he had in Tempest. Everything is pretty solid. Now onto the second naughty fight. You see him hiding in the upper left-hand corner there and taking damage. Jacky, no, that's unfortunate. So you want to hide in that upper corner there just so you can hit the beaver as soon as possible after he is vulnerable on the descent from his last jump. Taking damage here means that he will not be able to attempt the super jump roll in this oil drum alley, the next stage here. So this is unfortunate because that's about a 24, 26, whatever second save. It depends largely on how you play the stage, but at least you'll get to see some good execution here on Jacky's screen. Lots more oil drum rolls and just some overall good movement here. Very tight jumps, very tight rolls right through there. And we'll see if he goes for the clip. He opts out of that one. A nice extendo right here over that gap. And then 5 free frames. Boom, boom, boom. Very nice. Now rolling under that. Very nice. And looks like he's having a very good oil drum alley. You can see that he has practiced this stage a whole lot. The end of the stage here right there is pretty tough, and he makes it look like cake. Maisgueuh unfortunately has taken damage, but there is a DK barrel right there for him, so he has both of his Kongs back. The one time where it doesn't really matter which Kong you have in front is when you are in the water, because they have the same exact swim speed. They have the same properties underwater. However, Donkey's hitbox is still a little bit larger, so really the only advantage there to switch back to Diddy would be to just have the safety of having a smaller hitbox. You do want to swap when swimming upwards because that does save a few frames. So we'll see if he does that at the end of the stage. Jacky now onto Elevator Antics. The second time we'll take a bonus to skip a chunk of the stage right here. There is an SJR in this stage, but he is not going for it. It's pretty difficult. Also relatively newly found. Very nice necky roll there. That's an unconventional technique. Not a lot of runners go for that. Maisgueuh opting to go for Squawks in Torchlight Trouble. So you saw that Jacky skip Squawks. He ends up causing a lot of lag just because of him and the Torchlight that he has. Nice elevator skip on Jacky's side. And you can see, especially right here, he causes a lot of lag. So a lot of players will opt not to go for him, just sort of muddle their way through the dark. New players, there's still no shame in taking Squawks for newer players just to see what you're doing, know where you're going through. Because taking damage is 99% of the time slower than playing safe. Maisgueuh not going for the super jump roll here, so we'll get to see some movement through this stage. Pretty fun, lots of tire rolls. Looks like he's not going to go for all of them though, which is again totally fine. Now Jacky in Poison Pond, another stage where you want to be the fish most of the time, where you see those mincers. Just like the crocodile, you clip through them. 1, 2, 3. Very nice triple clip by Jacky, and he is pretty much free and clear out of this stage. One little section right here where you typically don't take damage. Unfortunately, Maisgueuh taking a death there, not really a huge deal. There is another DK barrel coming up right after this next section, and he should be back on his way. Jacky gonna set up rolling through air glitch here. You need to run into the minecart as Donkey. Do not roll, do not jump, but you run into the minecart, take damage on that first bird, and every time you take damage, you are forced to jump. The game makes you jump, and what happens is you end up jumping out of the cart, and the game thinks you are then simultaneously on land and in the air, and lets you jump and roll infinitely. So we like to call this rolling through air. There is a jump roll that you can get off of 2 of those birds in the beginning. Looks like he was a little bit early, which is good, as opposed to being late. Obviously, he'd like to hit the trick if he can. It saves about 6 seconds if you do. Nice little tire roll there for Flare. That's really the only other optimization here at the end of the stage, is doing tire rolls to obviously any time spent rolling is faster than just not rolling, and you can dispatch these Kremlings a little bit more quickly rather than jumping on them, bouncing up in the air, and then landing back in the cart. So if he were to be late on that the jump roll attempt earlier in the stage, he would have bounced off of those vultures and lost his rolling through air glitch, which is irrecoverable, and he just would have ended up dying because there's no land beneath him. So all things considered, much better that he was early than late, because you end up just rolling through the bird. Maisgueuh doing a super jump over Oil Drum Alley, which is a highly recommended strat for beginners. It's a very tough stage. As you saw when Jacky was doing it, there's a lot of complicated movement that you can do. And it doesn't lose all that much over, taking the stage conservatively. But if you have any sort of faith in yourself in this stage, I do recommend that you learn to play it out. Jacky in Blackout Basement. Again, lots of really good platforming here, except it's in the dark. So most of what you do is all muscle memory, but you do get some indicators of where you are that you can use based upon objects that actually don't go dark, like the bananas and some barrels, and half of the time that you do get to see the stage. Jacky onto Dum Drum now, affectionately called Cylinder by some runners. He just drops off these enemies at you in pairs, and you typically want to dispatch them as Donkey because he can do he can get rid of the 4th and 5th sets of enemies a little bit more quickly just by jumping on them one time, whereas Diddy either has to roll through these last clumps or hit the armadillos twice. If Diddy hits an armadillo once, it stops their rolling animation, then he has to roll through them again. Whereas Donkey can just jump on them once, boom, boom, and they're done. 25-15, World 5 exit. That's a pretty good run. Jacky is on pretty good pace right now, actually. You should be happy with this. Into Tanked Up Trouble. For the most part, it's a really, really long, boring auto-scroller where you have to fill up this tracker that you're on with these fuel cans. However, there are 2 frame-perfect tricks that save time. The first one being set up off a Kremling, so we call it Kremtut. T-U-T, being Tanked Up Trouble, the name of the stage. And the second one being Bird Tut. The first one saves about 55 seconds, and the second one saves about 42. Rough timings, again, changes based upon how you play the stage and how you execute the frame as well. Once you hit the frame perfect trick, you are not invulnerable. Let's see if he gets it here. He was a little bit early on his roll, didn't quite clash with the Kremling. That is fine, all things considered. Much better than dying, which is not uncommon when going for Kremtut. He was late going for Bird Tut right there. You saw him bounce off that bird. No big deal. Has a pretty good lead. And as you see, he's showing off here with Consolation Prize. There's another frame perfect trick there. It's a little bit more lenient because of the tire physics, and showing off a little bit there with some rolls and jumps off of tires. Very impressive. So he's going to have to play out the rest of the stage. It's about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so after Bird Tut. So long auto-scroller. Lots of time to save by not having to sit through it. Maisgueuh has unfortunately lost his fish and lost his Diddy at the end of Poison Pond, but it looks like he's going to take it safe here, and I think he knows the way to play it safe through the end of this stage here. You pretty much just stick to the top after these mincers go by. You can't beat them on the Kongs. Kongs are too slow, but however, On Guard can skip that first cycle. So yeah, he looks like he knows what he's doing. Just stick to the top, and the mincers and the bite size cannot bother you. So he'll be through there, and then he will be into Minecart Madness. And I think he goes for Rolling Through Air. We'll see if he sets up for it. Yep, looks like he's being a little precautious. Yep. Oh, unfortunately, it looked like it didn't work either. Sometimes it just like drops inputs and it's a little bit inconsistent. So it's a bit finicky, but you have to run into the minecart, take damage there, and hopefully he'll get it this second time around. There you go. Now he's on his way. Jacky into Manic Mincers, the first and only appearance of our animal buddy Rambi as an all-stage speedrun, and now we give him the Yoshi treatment. So long, Rambi. So when I mentioned before that when you're on an animal buddy and you take damage, you sort of just get thrown at max speed, no matter where you are, no matter what direction you're facing, you just kind of get thrown. That is exactly what he used there to his advantage. You skip a platform cycle there in order to just save a little bit of time. Unfortunately, you do have to sacrifice your animal buddy. Now setting up for Misty Mines SJR. Saw Diddy go off the top of the screen, and he hits it, but he doesn't. Oh no, Jacky. Okay. He saved it. He's about to get Force Snake. Did he do this intentionally? What? I've never seen that set up for Force Snake. Interesting. Very interesting. I thought he just straight up missed the first snake, but it looks like he was waiting for another one to spawn in order to get a proper extendo and go through. Oh no, Jacky! Oh no. Well, that was a roller coaster of emotions, if ever I do say so myself. Sorry about the dogs barking. That was all very exciting and unfortunately, now he has to play out the stage naturally, but at least now you get to see more content. So this is another pretty good stage, pretty good platforming stage here with lots of good rolls, extendo here and there, and he's going to take Donkey for safety. Good idea, because it's a little bit spooky just being Diddy by himself. Basically just really satisfying stage, the way that the rolls and jumps sort of line up together. I'm still blown away by that 4 snake setup. I've never seen that before. So you can get 4 snakes doing the typical setup where you just do an extendo off of the 2nd snake and 3rd snake, and I believe it's like frame perfect, the setup that you have to do when you have to repress Y in order to hit 4 snakes, just because of how fast you start rising. I don't know if he like found that from some old TAS or something, or if he just improvised that. I have no idea. I've never seen that before. I'm blown away. Anyway, now on to Loopy Lights, another stage where the the electric bill wasn't paid. The gimmick about this one, beyond the lights flickering on and off, is all of the clap traps will now jump at you when you jump. You can jump higher than them though, so you just need to time your jumps correctly and either bounce over them or just straight up jump over them. Couple scary tire rolls in the dark here. Can't really see much of what he's doing, but he has done this enough to know when he needs to roll, when he needs to jump. You just sort of get a muscle memory feeling for it. And if your TV is not too dark, you can kind of see what's going on anyway. Very good execution through that stage. Now onto Platform Perils, the final platforming stage of the game. One last attempt for one last frame. There are a couple backups. I don't know if he knows them or if he goes for them, but we'll just hope that he gets the first jump roll. It is with Diddy, so if he takes damage here, commentator's curse. I'm so sorry, Jackie. It was right there where those 2 armies were above him, but unfortunately he took damage, and there is not another DK barrel between where he was and the setup for the jump roll. So I'm sorry, Jackie, you can blame me for that one. Now he's got his Diddy back, and we get to see some good platforming again. There is a nice double extender right here. 1, 2, under the clump. Very nice and very satisfying roll here. Oh, unfortunately botched that a little bit. He bounced on those naughties. But this section with the platforms here is all about how close you can cut it, rolling off platforms early and jumping as far as you can. Doing a little bit of an alternate trick right here that's a little bit risky, but he executes it very well. And he is out of Platform Perils. Pretty much all but sealed the deal on this race. And now he is into the second to last boss fight. Neki 2, same idea as Neki 1, except he spits additional nuts at you. So whether he appears on the top or the bottom is again random. And again, you want him to be on the bottom just because it's a little bit easier to hit him. Ooh, frame perfect hit right there. Hitting him as he spits out the nut makes him retract immediately, and you do not get credit for hitting him. So it's basically a loss of a cycle. Unfortunate, but he's still having a pretty good run. Looks like this is going to be a 35-45, roughly, if my math is correct. So he is now on to the final boss of the game. And it's scripted, it's really easy. It's just a matter of jumping at the right time to avoid K. Rool's crown, avoiding his jumps on you, avoiding the cannonballs that he drops on your head, and hitting him as close as possible to when he becomes vulnerable. Jackie showing off a little bit of slap slides right there. Again, frame perfect trick. If you hit down and Y, Donkey will do this slap attack that he just hits the ground. You can use it to dispatch enemies. You can use it to break open patches in the ground that sometimes have either bananas or lives in them, and sometimes Kong letters as well. And if you press a direction, either right or left at the same time as pressing down and Y, you do your slap and you slide at the same time, affectionately called the slap slide. Not useful anywhere, but it is a nice little bit of swag in times where you don't have anything else to be doing. So aside from hitting K-Rool as optimally as possible, just going to show off a little swag there. What we like to call crownless hits on K-Rool, when he throws his crown at you and you hit him as close to him throwing it as possible, taking damage there that you get for showboating. But now he is going to be able to finish the run, as did he. Maisgueuh giving us a super jump over Manic Mincers. Loses, I think, somewhere in the double digits, like 15 seconds or something like that, overplaying optimally. Not such a huge loss considering how tough it is for beginners, especially the Ramby section. So again, super jumps over stages, very, very recommended for beginning players, but not always ideal for top level play. Only a few hits left. As you can see, he is a true hero, imitating the K-Rool jumps. Big fan service right here. And he has all but sealed the deal. One last hit. Very nice race, Jackie. 35-46. I was a little bit off. Maisgueuh also giving us a super jump over Misty Mines. Again, very difficult stage to play through. So if you are not familiar with or not comfortable with the super jump roll or playing out this stage normally, super jump is just fine. And you can't really rely on hitting a super jump roll anyway, so if you're going to go for that, I suggest you learn the stage as well. They are one-frame tricks, so there's no human that I know can hit them reliably. So GG's to Jackie. Very nice race. Sub 36 in a race is always good in my book. And Maisgueuh, let's see, he has Misty left. He has Loopy Lights, which I do believe he goes over with a super jump, and Platform Perils, and then the bosses. I don't think this is sub 40 for him, but it should still be a run that he will be happy with. Yeah, I believe you're right. Random Mies would have been a 35-45 if he didn't get hit there. I didn't see the beginning of the stage, whether he opted not to go for the super jump, or if he just wants to play this one out, or if he messed up the setup, but we're going to get to see the full playthrough of Loopy Lights here from Maisgueuh. Again, it's a tough stage, but it personally has become one of my favorites, just because there's a lot of satisfying movement, the way, again, like the rolls line up, the way the jumps line up, it just feels really good to play this cleanly. I don't think he's going to end up going for the tight rolls at the end here. Probably going to play it a little bit safe, which again is totally fine for newer players. There's no reason to risk anything that you're not comfortable with. Just because you're not getting 35s or whatever some other players are, doesn't mean that you have to be ashamed of the things that you do in your runs. I personally did, I think, 6 super jumps over stages in my runs, all the way up until I hit 40, sub 40. Taking a little bit of a risky roll there. Tough timing, but I do appreciate the effort. He's going to take a little bit safer this time. So now he's on to Platform Perils. Barrel physics can be a little bit tricky if you have a barrel and it gets destroyed in your hands. A lot of times your next input will be eaten there. So I think he attempted to jump, but his jump input was just eaten. That's just something that you learn through playing the game enough. And it's unforgiving, of course, and always a bummer, but it's just something that you need to sort of shrug off and keep going. Not doing any back boosts. I don't either. They're not easy. They don't save all that much. Looks like he's not going to go for the jump roll. I don't know if he just doesn't know the setup or what. Again, frame perfect trick, but if you can hit it, you'll end up saving roughly 12 plus or minus, a few seconds, depending upon how you play the end of the stage. If he were to hit it, it would be very valuable to him based upon how he's taking it here. Lots of cycle skips that he could learn and could go for. They're not easy though. It's not trivial. This is probably the hardest stage to play optimally, doing all the known tech in the entire game. There are lots of things that even Jacky didn't go for. Lots of skips here where you don't take barrels or you back boost off Crushas, those big gray guys. And there is time to be saved. However, at the expense of your death, there's not a whole lot of land here for you to land on and save yourself with if you mess up. So also the thing about those Crushas, even if you take damage with Diddy, so you get your donkey back, you cannot jump on those Crushas with donkey. You actually get bounced off of them. So there is pretty much no safe way to go about them without routing them, dispatching them with the barrels there. Taking damage on Necky too, a little bit unfortunate, but however there is a silver lining to it. Donkey does have a faster fanfare than Diddy does, which means he will exit the stage a little bit more quickly. And a lot of players find that getting hits on K. Rool are a lot easier with Donkey, just sort of due to his jump physics and it's just a lot easier to do like min jumps with him and to time your hits on K. Rool. But he is going to opt to go back for Diddy. It might just be what he's comfortable with. Typically, if you don't go for the donkey route, the donkey finish, most players will end this fight with Diddy. And if that's what you practice, that's what you know, then that's what you should go for all the time, especially in races. You don't want to take damage on accident and then end up dying on K. Rool and losing a solid chunk of time. From the banana drop on Necky 2 to the banana drop on K. Rool, at top level play is about 223 or 224, depending upon your K. Rool hits. So that is a very, very large chunk of time for you to lose if you end up dying. The one silver lining though, if you die at the end of the fight, you saw the fake credits on Jacky's screen where it sort of lists all the various enemies in the game and the things that they supposedly did, all beginning with K's. And sort of says the end with question mark there at the end, just to sort of trick you. You end up skipping those fake credits if you get past them once and then die and then re-enter the stage. There's also some weird physics that apparently change. They're not really useful in the speedruns, just because you have to die to K. Rool first in order for them to change, but you can do like some weird back boosts and stuff off of K. Rool. They don't save time, but it's just sort of a weird thing that happens in the game. Not useful in any way, but it's a neat little party trick for you to practice and show your friends. Maisgueuh through the fake credits now. He should get a mid 43, it looks like, which is not a bad race. Not a bad race time at all, especially when your goal is to go sub 40. Getting a mid 43 in a race is not bad at all. He does have to be careful here, though. I'll not say anything. Okay, good. And Maisgueuh getting a 43-21. Very nice race, very nice run by Maisgueuh here. Always proud of the people that step up into these tournament format matches and races on the big scene on speed gaming. It's a very daunting thing. It really is tough to perform at your peak, especially in front of an audience, especially if you've not done that before. So kudos to anybody from me that will step up into any tournament like this, pick up any game, no matter how skilled you are with it, and or how much experience you have with it as well, and throw your hat in the ring, see what you can do compared to other people that may have been playing for years. So GG's, nice runs, congratulations to both runners, and little fan service here on Jacky's screen showing us Winky, everyone's favorite animal buddy. I think it seems like both runners are going to decline interviews if I had to guess. Jackie typing in chat here, not sure if he wants to get in. And Maisgueuh as well. I don't think he usually does interviews. But either way. Also, I believe both runners are French, so this was the battle for France. Either way. Sure, Jackie, if you want, you can go ahead and hop on in to the interview channel. I think we still have some time. I don't think the next time slot is until 5 p.m., so we've got a little bit of time for an interview if you want to hop up for one. Maisgueuh as well, you're both invited. Best French runner, exactly. Yeah, as I saw in the S channel, the baguette mic's kind of bad. It's up to you. If you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. I mean, it's just a little opportunity if you want it. Either way, very nice run for both of you. Very proud of you. And Jackie only has one more race to go undefeated through the group stages. Jackie won the race, Jasper. Complicated for you as well, girlfriend's watching TV. That's totally fine. Either way, I am very proud of both of you, as I've said before, and I want to say thank you to all of Speed Gaming. Thank you to everyone in Twitch watching. Stick around, more to come. If you are interested, I think it's !DKC. There it is. There is the Speed Gaming Tournament Challenge page. We are getting close to the end of the group stage here and about to go into brackets. Brackets are almost set. And then once we do, I don't know if there's going to be a little bit of intermission or if we just go straight into it, but it should be some pretty riveting races, I'll say. What's up, Jackie? How are you?
Yo, Remo. How are you, dude? I'm fine.
So that was okay. The Misty SJR setup, was that improvised or have you planned that? Have you done that before?
Oh shit. Excuse me. I have the. Well, it's because like with the usual setup, I have big troubles hitting the snake. I always like press right before pressing Y, so I always miss the snake. I don't know why. So I used to do that in order to be sure not to miss the snake. And actually, you can hit three bodies after that. So
right. So you end up getting 4 snake, which previously using like the other setup where you just immediately roll into the second snake. I believe it is frame perfect to then extendo through the second and third and hit the 4th snake. That I believe is a frame perfect repress. So you just made that look trivial.
No, in fact, yeah. I think it's. I don't know. I think it's frame perfect with the if you go to the right automatically with the other setup. But with this setup, it's totally free to hit the 4 snakes. But I think it's still slower because you wait to the snake.
Right, you do have to wait a little bit.
It's really easier to, at least with this shit, you are pretty sure not to miss the. I have missed so many times I missed the snake. So I used to do this, but right now, I mean, with my arm I can't really train on the frame. So all the time I was hitting Misty, I was just hitting the super jump roll state immediately, not the jump roll state. So I didn't have the opportunity to train on that for a long time. So I was just like, oh shit, I don't know where I have to release, and of course I ended getting hit.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to. I mean, especially in your situation with the tendonitis that you have going on. So very admirable that you are pulling off these runs and these races in your current state. So hopefully you're gonna have a speedy recovery. But I mean, you're looking pretty good for this tournament right now. You are so far undefeated. You have one more race against Snack Pack, which you know, no offense to Snack Pack, but you are favored to win that race, and then you'll be undefeated through groups and onto the bracket.
Yeah, well, I see. I think it will be complicated for me to play, as I said last week, for maybe, you know, doing 3 races in a row.
Yes.
That's gonna be, I think, pretty tough. So
yes.
I will see, but maybe if I can't do it, maybe I will just forfeit and give my place to the 5th one in the group. I don't know how it kind of works, but
well, hey, maybe you know, if you just win the first 2 races, then you don't have to race 3 times.
Yeah.
Save yourself the trouble of racing the 3rd time and just win the first 2. Easy.
Yeah, that's logical, but I'll try.
All right. Well, again, thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting this tournament and this race. Thank you to Jackie and Maisgueuh for the excellent race you guys put up, and we'll be looking forward to the next races coming forward. I think Maisgueuh has a race tomorrow. I don't know if anything else is scheduled right now.
I think it's on Friday. I'm not sure, but.
Yes, you're right. Maisgueuh versus KBZ on Friday, 6 p.m. EDT. That is the only other race that is scheduled right now. But if you follow that schedule that is posted at !DKC, you can see when things pop up. If you are interested in watching more DKC, it shows up on the various Speed Gaming channels 1 through 6, depending upon how busy all the channels are. So just keep an eye on that, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future. And good luck to all the runners.
Yeah, and GG again to Maisgueuh, and thanks again for the comments, Luma.
No, of course. All right, rolling out, everyone.
Yeah, rolling out. See you.